participants are expected to observe appropriate standards of tone and conduct. The permanent observer of the Observer State of Palestine has asked for the floor to make a further statement. I give him the floor.
I'm terribly sorry, Madam President, for taking the floor again. But I think a representative of an occupying power that has his government and his army killed more than 44,000 Palestinian civilians and possibly 10,000 more under the rubble, and injured more than 100,000 Palestinian civilians. Most of them are women and children. Does he really has the credentials or the credibility to speak about the Palestinian people and his concerns about them? He represents a government, the head of it is a war criminal in which a warrant of arrest by a very important court, global court, the ICC, has issued that warrant of arrest for him. And the entire membership of the ICC, including all members of the European Union, all the states who are friends of the State of Israel, announced in the name of Mr. Borrell, their foreign minister, that all member states of the European Union, member of the ICC, and others said that they honor and respect the independence and the position of the ICC. And even today, the 15 members of the Security Council, the representative of the occupying authority, the representative of those who committing genocide, was not listening to any one of you, because all of them, they said to you, stop the crimes, stop the killing, stop the starvation, send assistance to the Palestinian people in Gaza, including in northern Gaza. Don't stop the humanitarians from conducting their business. You don't listen. You listen to the noise in your head, but you don't listen to the distinguished member of the Security Council, who are some of them advising you with a solidarity with you, and you don't even listen. It's either your way and the highway, and it is going to be the way of the international community, the Security Council, and you are going to be running on the highway. You do not have credibility. You don't listen. And they keep telling you the same messages, still you don't listen. Listen to them. Listen to international law. Listen to what the UN stands for. Don't try to change things and to tailor a system which is a system completely in contradiction with what we all agree to. That will never happen. Wake up. Listen to the international community. Listen to justice. Listen to fairness. Listen to the people who want their hostages to be released, not to be killed on a daily basis. Ceasefire. Ceasefire now. Hundreds of millions of people are saying that in all corners of the globe. Listen to them, including in Israel, including Jews in the United States of America, and their youth in universities and colleges. They're telling you, ceasefire, ceasefire now. This is how the hostages will be released. You're not listening to anyone. You're listening to extremism, to fanaticism, to the extremists in your government, to the extremists in your society, and therefore you are perpetuating this war. And we will, all of us, led by international law, succeed in either making you listen and understand or forcing you to listen, as all people like you in the past were forced to listen to the will of the people in all corners of the globe and international law and the Security Council. Thank you, Madam President.
I thank the permanent observer of the Observer State of Palestine for his statement. I reiterate to all participating delegations the importance of maintaining decorum in the chamber. The representative of Israel has asked for the floor to make a further statement. I give them the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. In my speech, I used the facts. Mr. Mansour, you are an expert of blaming Israel. We don't have to come to your event tomorrow. For 77 years in this organization, you always said no, and you blame Israel for everything. What I'm trying to offer you is future, to discuss future for Palestinians in Gaza. But in order for that to happen, you have to say no, not to Israel, to say no to Hamas. Once you will have the courage and the ability to say no to Hamas, no to terrorism, you can speak about future for Gaza, you can speak about future of the Palestinians. That's what I'm saying. I'm not taking your position, but I'm telling you that if you want to move forward, you have to say no to Hamas and yes for cooperation. If you want to play the blame game, you became an expert on that. You will continue to do it tomorrow. But look what you did in the last 77 years since Israel was established, and you rejected the petition plan here at the UN. Look what you did personally in the last 20 years that you are sitting here, that you always said no and blamed Israel. Think about the future of the Palestinians. Thank you very much.
I thank the representative of Israel for their statement. The representative of the permanent observer of the Observer State of Palestine has asked for the floor to make a further statement. Can I reassure you we have listened closely to your views, and in the interest of time, I will give you the floor one final time to conclude your remarks. Thank you.
I thank you very much, and I apologize for taking the floor. I challenge the ambassador of Israel. I accept Security Council resolution. I accept General Assembly resolution. We recognize the State of Israel. You are not recognizing the State of Palestine. On these bases, on the basis of international law, on the basis of the Charter, I am willing and eager to chart a path, positive path for peace. You are the one who is refusing all these things. It's not us. Our president came to this Security Council and said many times, I am ready to negotiate the end of occupation. I am ready to negotiate peace and two-state solution living next to each other. It was always you and your government, the rejectionist, refusing to open doors for peace. You want from us to be negated. Your Knesset legislated that only Jews have the right to exercise self-determination between the river and to the sea. You completely ignored us, and you were trying to say that you are for peace and I am against peace. I accept the judgment and the position of all of my colleagues. When we go peacefully and legally and in a very sophisticated way to the General Assembly, asking them, do we deserve the right to self-determination? And when they give me between 170 to 180 votes, saying on the basis of the Charter, the Palestinian people do deserve to exercise their right to self-determination, including a two-state solution, who is the one who is working for peace and who is the one who shredded the Charter of the United Nations from the chamber of the General Assembly, and who is the one who said in the General Assembly, you are the immoral majority in the General Assembly. It was your representative. Then, my colleagues, I accept their judgment. If we go for a voting among our colleagues, our peers, who is working for peace and who is working for the killing of the Palestinian people as we see it in the Gaza Strip, I think the answer is obvious, but you will not accept the judgment of our colleagues. You want to impose on us your judgment, which is not accepted by anyone, and that's why you are isolated, and you're still insisting to change that reality by distorting the situation, trying to accuse a person who is working all of his life for peace and trying to say that you are working for peace and not the representative of the State of Palestine. That's why I'm telling you, wake up. Listen to those. Many of them are your friends in the General Assembly. Many of them are your friends. They are telling you what you're doing is wrong. Change your behavior, change your policies so that we can have peace, so that we can end this illegal occupation and have a two-state solution. And I will not speak anymore, Madam President, now. Thank you for your patience and all of my colleagues. Thank you.
I thank the permanent observer of the Observer State of Palestine for his statement. In accordance with Rule 39 of the Council's Provisional Rules of Procedure, I invite Mr. Tor Wennesland, the Special Coordinator for the Middle East Peace Process, to participate in this meeting, and I give him the floor to respond to comments.
Thank you, Madam President. As this is the last brief that has been delivered to the Council from my side, as presented by my deputy, Mohammed Hadi, let me just add some few words. I think we, on a daily basis, including today, we have got demonstrations in the field and in the Council how difficult this situation is at the moment. I can assure members of the Council and the representative of Israel and Palestine that this is a very difficult job to entertain in a situation where anyone serious from the UN will have to deal in an impartial way with both sides. I am deeply frustrated that the combined effort of the Council, of the mediators and the international community has not succeeded in delivering a ceasefire in Gaza and the release of the hostages. I'm deeply frustrated from my visits to Gaza to see that despite all efforts and with the fear for their own life, it has not been possible to deliver the aid and assistance in the amount needed for the civilians living in Gaza. And yet again, we have to admit that the failure, not only this time, but over time, to try to resolve this conflict politically has led into a dead end, yet again. I outlined the key principle as I see a way to a different path in addressing the conflict before the Council exactly a week ago. These principles still stand, and the Council itself has to 4 resolutions, 2712, 2720, 2728 and 2735, delivered their assessment and their decisions on how to move forward on the humanitarian issues. So, at this point in time, we could have been in a better place. Nevertheless, allow me, Madam President, to thank all permanent and elected members of the Security Council during my term for your tireless engagement and support to our work, and to the Secretary General and the Secretariat for your guidance. I especially thank the Under Secretary General Di Carlo and her team in the DPPA. I also would like to use the opportunity to thank the UN agencies, funds and programs operating in the OPT for their dedication. In particular, I wish to recognize the brave and valiant efforts of UN colleagues in Gaza working under unimaginable conditions. I would like also to thank the Palestinian and Israeli governments, their civil servants, and all interlocutors in Israel and Palestine for their continued engagement with me in my work as UN Special Coordinator. And finally, thanks to my colleagues in UNSC for their commitment, understanding, and professionalism dealing with very difficult issues. It has been an honor to serve for the UN. It has been an honor to work with all of you. I thank you.
I thank Mr. Wennesland for the clarifications he's provided, and as this is his last meeting as Special Coordinator, I thank him for his dedicated service in the position. There are no more names inscribed on the list of speakers. The meeting is adjourned.